Hello, listeners. Welcome to Plano's Political Pitbull Podcast. I am Esther.
And I'm Ruth.
And today we have an update on some bills that we are watching in the state legislature and the Plano Arts Plan passes council and the new council takes their seats. First up, on May 12th, the City Council authorized the results of the election. Plano has 179,588 registered voters. Sadly, only 20,593 actually voted. That is a paltry 11.46% of registered voters came out and voted in the May 5th election.
Wow.
Wow. That's it, wow. How about where were the other 100,000 or so people
Wow.
came out, who stayed home actually? They stayed home. They didn't come out. They had 2 weeks to vote. 2 weeks to vote. Didn't vote.
Well, considering other local elections, that's not a bad number, right? In comparison? Did we hit a record, or are is that just average?
It's pathetic.
Yeah. I'm saying in comparison to previous. I'm also being facetious.
I don't know. I mean, I would say that it's probably average, but still pathetic. I'm sorry. What is wrong with people? I don't understand. The whole reason this podcast started was because people were not watching what City Council was doing. The papers were pretty much useless. We've got the community impact.
Nobody reads the paper anyway.
Okay. They have barely anything on City Council in there.
Again, nobody reads the paper anyway, so...
Okay, fine. But if you were going to read the newspaper, that would be one, which is technically more of a newsletter. The other one is the Plano Star-Courier, which again, if you want to find out how your high school football team did, that's a great source, but not much for anything else. So we realized there was a hole. So the reason why the blog and the podcast all started was to inform people so that they would know who was out there, who was running, what the city council was doing, and to help inform the people. And yet, 11% come out and vote for people who are going to have more effect on their lives than any other government official out there.
I've said it once and I'll say it again. People don't realize that.
Yes, I know. I know they don't realize that. It sucks. I don't get it. You know, I always voted in every election. If I came from a state where we actually got a sample ballot in the mail. So we knew when every election was, we got to see who was on the ballot, and the days before the internet, we couldn't look anybody up. But I voted in every single solitary election, no matter what it was for, because I knew that it all mattered.
You know what I blame?
Mm-hmm.
I blame the media, because think about it. What does mainstream, what pretty much everyone is going to look at, it's all national or international news.
If you watch cable news, yes.
I'm not even just talking about cable news. I'm talking about even like online news that you might see on articles and such. It's not, you don't see much about local news. Local news isn't really reported on as much as national or international. And also, the national and international catastrophize a lot. And so you're more concerned about that rather than local, which you don't really hear much of, and it's not catastrophized.
Right. And our hub
I think I said that word wrong.
it's okay. I know what you're talking about. Our hub for the news, for the local news anyway, in television, is Dallas. We are a suburb. So, of course, Dallas is going to get more news and more stories in the news than the rest of the DFW area, or Dallas and Fort Worth, shall we say, and the rest of the suburbs, not much. Unless there's some kind of, catastrophe, stabbing, a shooting, if it bleeds, it leads. So yes, if there's some kind of catastrophe, then the suburbs will make the front page or the A block of your news report.
City council stuff isn't going to cut it unless you have what was his name? Where Plano made it to...
Alex Stein.
Alex Stein. Unless you have an Alex Stein moment.
Yes.
It's not going to make it.
That goes viral. Yeah. Yeah.
They're like, no one cares about that.
No. So they, the new council came in and they took their seats, and it is so sad to have seen Anthony and Shelby leave. And Rick Smith, I'm going to miss him too. But I will definitely miss Anthony and Shelby. And to see somebody else sitting in their seats,
it's probably weird, right?
Well, it actually kind of made me mad.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it did. Especially the people that got elected to their seats. You could not get more opposite than Steve Levine and Shelby Williams. They are polar opposites.
Well, we'll have
to see him sitting in Shelby's seat was so weird.
Well, we'll have to wait to see what he does. Reserve judgment.
He's already started, so which leads me to my next topic.
Oh.
Which is the arts plan. Now, we talked about the arts plan in the last time.
Yeah, and I felt you were kind of degrading the artists.
Yes. Now, I am sorry if that is how it came off. That was not my intention. My intention was to say, art is a wonderful thing, but it should be for and funded by the private sector. I was just watching today, actually, the documentary show on Getty, the Getty family.
Mm-hmm.
We were watching that today. And the guy was basically the richest man in America in the 1940s and 50s. And he was an oil tycoon. But he was also an art collector, and he loved the arts. And he decided when he got older and was going to give back to society, he built a museum in California. And he actually was very involved in that, used his own money to do it, designed it himself, put art pieces in it, and when he passed away, his money went to the museum. That is a wonderful thing. That is a great thing. Not a dime of public money, of taxpayer money, went into that. And that's what I'm talking about. We can have great art and great artists and great museums, but they should be privately funded. The taxpayers want and need infrastructure, roads, water, sewer, bridges. I'll even say maybe a park, okay? They don't need, it is not the government's job, in their purview, art. So that is what I was trying to get across.
Now, it may be harder to get someone to fund it rather than having city council just approve it and, all that. But there is a saying that nothing worth doing comes easy.
Yes. And there's also no free lunch.
That too.
Somebody's going to pay for it. And in this respect, I think that we have wealthy families. I think Steve Levine is one of them, who would love to have a legacy. And part of that legacy could be funding the arts himself and not using our money as taxpayers to do it. Which brings us to the art plan. It was originally on the consent agenda, and it was pulled off by Councilmember Horn. Thank you, Councilmember Horn. He said he thinks it's a good plan. So now already I'm concerned. But this was the good part. He is concerned about the cost. Specifically, the 800-seat venue that the plan wants, the Visual Arts Center they want to build.
800-seat venue?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I thought.
What do they mean by seat?
Well, I thought that it was supposed to be like a gallery to show off your art. I don't know. And this sounds more like a theater, which we don't really need. But apparently that's what he said. So I'll just go with that. He said it will also have to be actively used for it to make a profit.
Right.
Okay. It's government owned. It's not going to make a profit. Okay? Just not going to do it. It's going to be a money killer.
Just what we need.
He supports the plan, but he wants the people to know that the council will be working on the costs in the budget work session.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So I think he's trying to smooth over the cost because, it's going to be a lot.
It always is.
And it's going to be something that is not a necessity. And the taxpayers, I'm sorry, they should have a problem with it. So then Steve Levine speaks, and he likes the plan very much, but he wants a workshop with council and stakeholders. And the stakeholders to him are artists. And he wants to iron out some concerns that some of the stakeholders have on the plan. Specifically, the Plano Symphony. We have a Plano Symphony here. Apparently, we also have a Plano Choir, which I did not know about until recently. But apparently they have a concern. I want to know where the Plano Choir plays at, because they must have somewhere they play. I don't know where.
I don't know. I even tried looking it up. What I found was mostly private choirs, like small individual stuff. I didn't see like a community choir anywhere.
I will ask the person I heard it from. Yes. Ruth likes to sing. She actually is in a community choir in Dallas. Well, the vote was quite interesting. It passed 7-1. And the one was new council member Bob Kerr, whose name is spelled Kehr, but it's pronounced Kerr. Go figure. I don't know. So that was the really only thing of interest that was going on May 12th. They had some sewer projects and some water projects that they were discussing, which, yeah, we do need. Actually, I will tell you that they approved some sewer improvements to the amount of $16,139,315. Now, see, that is an important thing because we need to be able to flush. Okay? I'm all for that. I am not for taking money that could go to our sewer repairs and putting it towards a art facility. Now on to the legislature, the state legislature. So I have some bad news, some very important emergency news here. SB 840 passed out of the House and is on its way to the governor. This is the bill that would convert commercial to residential by right. In other words, if you own or if somebody owns an office building and they want to convert that to residential apartments, with this bill, if the governor signs it, they will be able to do that without going through rezoning. This is a horrible, horrible, horrible bill. We talked about it before.
It would destroy cities.
Georgetown said that if they were included in this, they would have over 1 million apartments. I am sure Plano could be the exact same thing. Our business park theoretically could be gone. We will be apartments and houses and no business.
That's not sustainable.
It's not. For years, I know the people who own the land that Trader Joe's is on. Not Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's leases it. But that strip mall is owned by a company. And they have wanted to bulldoze that place and turn it into apartments.
What?
Mm-hmm. They've had major pushback, probably because Trader Joe's is very popular.
Well, also there's other things on that strip that I like too.
Yes.
I think there's a Half Price Books.
There's a Half Price Books that does very well there too. There's a bunch of stuff there. And for a very long time, the owners of that have been contemplating tearing it down and turning it into more apartments. And nobody in the community wants that. So they're not trying to do it.
Well, we want our stores.
Here, they could easily say, let's go and just turn that into apartments. So, the only thing that will stop this bill now from becoming law is the governor's veto. We must write, call, do whatever you have to do to get the governor to veto this bill.
The fact that they would pass a bill that would allow a developer to just bulldoze someone's business without having to go to city council for approval is just baffling.
Yeah. Well, Yeah, or convert the building into apartments. You don't necessarily, if it's, let's say, a 15-story office building and you've got tenants there, but he thinks he can make more money by turning it into apartments.
I'm not even just talking apartments. I'm just talking about the principle of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, they don't own the building. They're leasing. So
It's still wrong.
I agree. The whole thing is wrong. It's wrong to preempt local zoning. The whole thing is wrong. So here's what we need to do. Please go to the governor's website. You can call the number listed or email him. You have to go to the contact page. If enough people call and tell the governor to veto the bill, he will do it. He has already vetoed one bill so far that I know of. A link to the governor's website is on our Facebook page. I posted about this when the bill passed. I will also put a link on our website, planospoliticalpitbull.com. This is very important. We need to stop this bill. And the only person who can do it now is the governor. And if enough people tell him to veto, he will veto. I don't think this is high on his priorities. So I think he won't want to risk the political capital by not vetoing this bill.
But he's got to be informed that a lot of people don't want it.
Yes, he does have to be informed that people think that this is a bad idea. If nobody calls, or if not enough people call and write, then he'll sign it. And it'll be law, and there'll be nothing we can do. And the bulldozers will come. I have some good news on one bill we were following. So SB 15. This is the bill that had the 1,400 square foot maximum on residential lots.
Oh, the claustrophobia bill.
Yes, the claustrophobia bill. We're going to cram you in like sardines. Well, something amazing happened. It failed on a point of order in the House. So a gentleman stood up and he made a point of order saying that the bill carved out an exemption that basically is not allowed. So from what I understood, the speaker talked very fast, but what I gathered was Dallas asked for a carve out in a specific area near their police training center. So the author of the bill allowed it. Well, apparently you can't do that. You can't just say one city gets a carve out. So
yeah, that's not right.
The point of order stood and the bill died. Now, I have been watching the live feed of the House floor.
It is mind-numbing.
It's mind-numbing to her. It's interesting to me.
I don't know how. I mean, if it's your cup of tea, fair.
Well,
I can't do it.
I will say, currently as we are speaking, they have been debating SB 25 for almost 3 hours.
No. It's officially 3 hours.
All right. It is officially 3 hours.
From the time recording.
Because people will make points of order. People will make amendments. I believe, what amendment are we on now?
Are we finally on 20?
No, we are not on 20.
Yet.
But we were on Amendment 17.
We're probably on Amendment 18 or 19 by now.
Yes. So, and this is a fairly straightforward bill. It's a bill to make Texas healthy again. it's a long bill, but one would think this would all be, everybody would be in agreement. I have to say, I do not know who the Republicans are and who the Democrats are in this because, Democrats for a long time has always had the reputation of liking more government and more regulations, and Republicans are the opposite. I think in this case they flipped.
They flipped for a few. They flipped for a few bills.
It's
been very interesting.
Yes, it has been very interesting. So you can watch the live stream of the House on the Texas House of Representatives website. You can also see previous live streams. I was waiting all night yesterday. Not all night, but all day, almost all day yesterday for SB 15 to come up, and it never did. And so finally they got to it today, and it went quick. So I am very happy about that. One down.
We're still waiting on the third one.
We are waiting on the boarding house bill. This is boarding house by right. Some people refer to this as the frat house bill. Basically, this bill would allow boarding houses in almost every city. By right. So if this passes, I can turn my house into a boarding house and rent out every single room. It is supposed to come to the floor today. That is the day we are recording this.
Crossing our fingers it also dies.
Yes. We are recording this on May 25th. So when we come back and do another episode, we'll let you know how that went. I believe I also put on our Facebook page to call your representatives and have them try and stop this bill. A point of order that works would help. So, but that one has to stop. This session has been quite interesting in that we've had a lot of bills from Republicans that are heavy on the regulation.
Yeah.
This health bill, for example, is one. It's
very heavy.
It wants to create a commission or a committee of some kind on health. It wants to have a nutrition class in school for the kids. They want people to go to college to have a nutrition course.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I missed that part.
Yeah.
Mandate that you have to take a nutrition class in college?
Yes, as part of your general education classes.
Oh my gosh. There's already so many pointless general education classes.
I had to take, when I went to school, when I went to college, it wasn't in this state, but part of it, we had to take a health and nutrition class. And we had to learn these things. So it's not abnormal, but they were trying to get all kinds of exemptions for that class and all kinds of exemption for the gym class. The part of the bill was adding more physical education in 8th grade. I think they start lowering the requirements for physical education the higher you get. And the other thing was...
They didn't do it... I didn't go to public school, though.
But you did have gym. You had gym class.
Well, yeah, I was going to say they didn't lower requirements in 8th grade. We didn't have it in I did not have it in high school.
But you still had to... I had to have
a credit, though.
You had to have a credit?
We just didn't have gym class.
Yes. So you had to do something outside of school because they didn't have... The private school you went to didn't have gym.
We had a gymnasium. I don't know why we didn't have gym.
I don't know. Well, they had sports. They had basketball. They had other things.
Anyway, we're getting off track.
Sorry. But anyway, it's been strange watching the Democrats pick apart all these new regulations and Republicans wanting the new regulations. It's really been strange.
Yeah.
especially on the food labels. One would think that would be right up the Democrats' alley, but a lot of people are pushing back on these
Well,
extra food labels that this bill would put.
you know why I think that is? Because anything one party wants, the other party, it's these stupid party lines. Anything one party wants, the other party has to disagree with. In almost every case, even though it should be bipartisan, you have these stupid party lines where, oh, if they're in favor of this, then it must be bad.
That's why we're nonpartisan here. Because, I can get behind some of this particular bill that they are still working on. 3 hours, one bill. SB 25. If you want to look up SB 25 for yourself, you can go to Texas Legislature Online. That is the name of the website. And you can put in SB 25 and you can read the bill yourself. It's lengthy. They got points taken away for the length.
But you can still skim it.
Yes. Most people, if you are into health and wellness, you're going to like it. All right. And if you want to help people get healthy again, you'll like it.
Unless you're against more regulation.
Well, I don't know. I mean, like I said, we've sort of flipped here. It's very odd. This is a phenomenon, Used to be the Democrats were all the, alfalfa sprouts and vegans and vegetarians and everything. And now it seems like the Republicans are going that way. I'm very confused. But anyway, I don't know how long this SB 25 is. I don't know how many other bills they have, but I have a feeling that the boarding house bill is probably going to come in late.
It might have something to do with Trump.
You think it's just because Trump has the initiative to make America healthy again that all of a sudden now...
Someone literally did say making Texas healthy again. Basically, using his slogan.
Yeah, well, except for Texas, yes.
I said basically.
So this could just be...
Copycat.
Since we don't like Trump and he's doing this initiative, we're going to just be against having healthier children.
I wasn't even just talking about that. I was talking about the Republicans too.
Oh.
That because he's doing that they are now on board with it.
Right.
And,
Well, we'll find out we'll see what happens. I'll have to get back to you on that. So I have a story of something that happened to me personally at the Plano Municipal Court. I didn't even know we had a jury system in the Plano Municipal Court. I thought that court was specifically, traffic tickets, things of that nature. So a few months ago, I got a jury summons to appear at the courthouse and serve in voir dire to be, if I was going to be selected to be on a jury. The letter said, call the night before to see if you're still needed. I called. I was still needed. Now, I read this letter very carefully. Ruth, at the bottom, please read the red that is bold, red, and underlined.
Appropriate attire is required in the courtroom. Shorts, halter tops, or lewd such offensive clothing is prohibited.
Okay. Not a problem for me, all right? So the night before, because I had to get up very early in the morning for me, and to be all the way across town by 8:30 start time. I really didn't know where it was, so I wanted to give myself plenty of time. So the night before, I laid out my outfit that I was going to wear. It was a very cute outfit. Laid out the jewelry, everything.
Of course you did.
You know. So I did all that, and I picked a very nice, professional-looking outfit. And in the morning, I got dressed. I looked very cute, I thought, and I grabbed my hat. Now, for those who aren't familiar with our podcast, Ruth and I are Jewish. Ruth and Esther, very biblical Jewish names. But we're Jewish. And in the Jewish religion, a married woman covers her head. Now, there's all kinds of different interpretations of this. The ultra-Orthodox women will wear wigs.
Or headscarves.
Or headscarves. They'll cover so that you won't see their hair. Less religious, more conservative Jews will just cover their heads. And for me, it's usually in the form of a hat, or I'll have what I call a female yarmulke, which I wear. It's very pretty. There are all kinds of things. Ruth likes to wear bandana, like silk little bandanas on her head. So we do this. I have all kinds of things that I can wear on my head. That day, I picked a hat. So I go, I'm there, I check in. Nobody says anything to me. I go to walk into the courtroom, and the officer who's standing outside the courtroom asks me, "Ma'am, can you please remove your hat?" And instinctively, no just came out of me. I just went, no. And he kind of laughed at me. And he said, well, the judge doesn't allow hats. And I said, that wasn't in the letter I got. It said a lot of other things, but it didn't mention hats. The woman who checked me in said, oh, yes, it did. And it's also right here on this sign that was on her desk. And at the very bottom, the last word was no hats. I had a whole bunch of stuff and then no hats. And I said, no, ma'am, I'm sorry. It did not say anything about hats. And that sign does me no good at home when I was at home picking out my outfit. I could have worn my yarmulke, but I didn't bring it with me. So they had me sit outside of the courtroom because the bailiff needed to ask the judge if it was okay that I wore my hat. After I explained that I'm Jewish, I have to cover my head with something. Like I said, something is always on my head, whether it be a hat, a bandana, a headband.
She never goes outside without it.
Right.
Like, I'm not married, so sometimes I might go outside without something covering my head, but I like to also just do it for symbolic reasons, just to, remind myself God's above me.
Exactly. That is one of the reasons they say we do it, to remember that God's above us and watching us. So I'm sitting there and I'm grumbling to myself in my head, this is ridiculous. So the bailiff comes out and he says, ma'am, come right in. I am so sorry for the inconvenience and the trouble. And I said to him, oh, that's all right. We're used to it. Kind of like, yeah, been there, done that before. Interestingly, the officer who first told me to take off my hat, when I had said Jews cover their head, he went, I've never heard that before. And I'm looking at him like, you gotta be kidding me.
I guess he's never seen an Orthodox woman before. because they literally have no hair showing.
Okay. The other thing that was going through my mind when he said that was, we're in Plano. We have a Chabad. Those are the ultra-Orthodox. We have a conservative temple. We have a Reformed temple. We've got every kind of Jew here. We've got Muslims. We have Christians. We have all different kinds of faiths. They are telling me that they have never seen a Jew come in that covers their head. I find this hard to believe. But, okay.
I mean,
maybe he's lived a sheltered life. I don't know.
I mean,
he's new in town. I don't know.
Okay, to be fair, Jews are a minority, especially in Plano. And Orthodox is a subsect of Judaism, so it's even more of a minority. So you know.
Well, I will say I don't know if maybe they've seen an Orthodox person because we're not Orthodox. We lean kind of conservative. But,
and not all Reform or conservative Jews will cover their heads.
Right. But the Orthodox, they must be home on Friday night before candle lighting time for our Shabbat, for our Sabbath. We light candles. We have a special dinner. It's sort of like, think of it as Sunday dinner, but for Jews. We have this Friday night dinner. And in the wintertime, it would be very difficult for them to sit on a jury because court ends at 5. If they don't live near the courthouse, they ain't making it back in time before sundown, at least, let alone candlelighting time. So there may have been many Jews who got exemptions because they couldn't sit past 5 o'clock. They have to be home before that, so they couldn't be there in the wintertime at 5 o'clock.
And then other Jews might, not cover their heads, so it's no problem.
Right. So I have to say, I am not mad at the judge. The judge was, let me in there. Interesting little tidbit that happened. I never got to see any action. I was prepared, except for the hat. I was prepared. I had, brought stuff to do because I knew I was going to be there a while. There was only one case, and it was only going to be a 6-person jury. But I had never been in a courtroom before in my life, in this kind of courtroom, and I love court dramas, and I was kind of excited and looking forward to seeing how it happens in real life. Well, about 9:30, the bailiff came, and he was very personable, very funny, put everybody at ease because he knows nobody wants to be there. And he said, the lawyers are talking, and I'll let you know we may or may not need you today. And came back around 9:30 and said the defendant has decided he doesn't want a jury trial, which is probably a good idea. But I was a little disappointed. We were all there. Some people took off work, and now this was the letdown. So getting back to what I was saying, I'm not mad at the bailiffs. I'm not mad at the officers. I'm not mad at the clerk. No, not mad at the judge. Who needs to be disciplined is the person who wrote the letter for the summons to appear. Because if it is important to the judge that he says no hats allowed, then that should have been in the letter. No hats. And then I would have, instead of putting on my full hat, would have worn something else on my head that would have been more acceptable and not had this slight issue when I got there. So I had asked, and I had talked with the bailiff after, and I said, whoever writes this needs to just add no hats. And, I would have, like I said, I'm sorry, I would have picked something else. And he was very kind. He said, you have nothing to be sorry for. He did say he has seen people come to court in stuff that he would not wear to the beach. I said, I know, people do not know how to dress anymore. They don't. People, they go to the Walmart in their pajamas. I don't get it. In the 50s, a woman would go on the subway in her blue jeans. That was an I Love Lucy episode. Lucy got a loving cup stuck on her head. It's a very famous episode, and she had to get it off her. And Ethel had to take her on the subway to get it off, to get to somebody who could take it off her head. And Ethel was in her blue jeans. She was, I guess, doing chores around the house. And she says, all right, I have to go change out of my blue jeans. And Lucy went, Ethel, I have a loving cup on my head. Surely you can wear your blue jeans. She said, I have never gone on the subway in my blue jeans, and I never will. And they both were dressed nicely to ride the subway and go out to get this cup off Lucy's head. So people have lost the art of dressing today.
Fashion is different.
Fashion is very different, yes. Best flip-flops out, But like I said, I'm not mad at the people who I interacted with. The person who wrote the letter made a mistake, and that should be fixed for the future people who are of faith that covers their head. Alrighty. Our very important dog is still Gemma. Gemma is a friendly dog who is about 3 years of age. She is very sweet and so playful too. Gemma will make a great companion for you. She was never claimed by her owner and wants a new home. Gemma is an affectionate dog too. She is at the Plano Animal Shelter.
Sweet baby.
Yes. And our sponsor, we have been brought to you today by Southwest Pain Management. Southwest Pain Management takes care of most chronic pain without addictive pain pills, with the goal of getting you back to doing the things you love. They are also the world's leading long COVID experts. Dr. Groisman has patients flying in from all over the world to treat their long COVID. Please go to their website, reliefbeginshere.com, to see what they do. Well, that is all the time we have for today. Just a note, they did move past SB 25. They are now on a different bill.
Yeah, they didn't make it to 4 hours.
I'll have to look up and see whether or not it actually passed. But that's good. Maybe we will have the boarding house bill come up today. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe and help us with the algorithms. This is Esther.
And this is Ruth.
For Plano's Political Pitbull, signing off.